Okay, we are going to go to, now what have we got, 12:30. Leah, you're there, so I didn't see you there. Okay, you might as well rock up. And you're back later as well, I presume.
I am.
Okay, right. Okay, so this is the interim report, which has been released to the market already. We'll note the CCHL directors around the table. Any comment you'd like to add?
Nothing really. It's just, it's in line with where we expected us to be. The group is doing very well, other than a couple of the notable ones that we've been talking about and highly and looked at. But profit up as a group level, because remember this is the consolidated results. This is when we take all the subsidiaries and consolidate them. So at a group level, we are ahead of where we were last year, which is great, mostly due to the airport results and also Enable making NPAT positive for the first time, which is a year ahead of actually expectations. So they're the main key drivers. Obviously, a couple of the others are down, but working through that.
Okay. Could you just, given it's we've got the live stream and everything, could you just explain to the public why this report was released early and the obligations under the NZX for reporting? Yeah,
sure. So in late 2017, CCHL went to the debt capital markets and raised debt via a bond, and we listed that on the New Zealand Stock Exchange. Under those requirements of the New Zealand Stock Exchange, we have to publicly announce our results within 60 days of the interim date and our balance date. So, and we cannot release them anywhere else until that's the first. As soon as they're ready and approved, they have to be released to the market in the first day. So that is why they were done at that stage.
Okay, thanks very much. Any questions? Phil.
Thanks, Leah. I just wanted to ask you about the Red Bus report, if I may.
Yes.
So, it's quite clear in the report all right through that in terms of the future contracting, that there's been some real challenges for Red Bus. And by the way, I did notice that having 3 electric buses coming on stream by June, that's very positive. But we see over the year to date they've made a loss, but they also were required really, and it's on our page 147, Leah, to allocate significant resources to be in the best position to respond to the urban tenders and increase in the market share in Christchurch. And I guess the PTOM model we know has its challenges, but I'm just wondering why that continues, but also just how much, for example, can you tell us how much that significant resource was, especially given that they've made a loss in the process?
Sure. So in regards to your question about PTOM model, I can't really comment on that.
No,
that is what it is. That's where we are. So obviously this year, just to back up a bit, 80% of Red Bus's revenue is from the urban contracts. It gets cross contracts through ECAN. They are all up for review at the end of this year. So, and how those contracts are allocated based on routes or units of routes, and you have to go into a public tender to actually get them, and they're 9-year contracts if you're awarded them. So, from a Red Bus point of view, they have been the urban contracts have been making money, but as you are aware, Red Bus has always been sort of more the break even because they've only had 30% of the market share in that urban space. What we're doing now is actually preparing for that new public tender for the new routes because we obviously want to increase our market share.
So are you able to tell us how much this is costing in terms of because it says significant resources, how much is going into that from Red Bus, given that the business cases aren't cheap, and that
correct.
Sort of thing, but can you give us a figure on that?
We're currently at the moment where we're at, potentially, I'm not too sure how much it's going to cost all up, but we are budgeting around that in total for $1 million. But given you're talking about the revenue of this company, 80% of this revenue, it's like any tender, public tender you go through, they cost money. And you also got to remember, Red Bus is a very tight, resource-constrained entity. There's no extra resource in there. It's a very, very small team. So you need to bring in extra resource to actually do those tenders because they are significant. It's essentially 6 months of full-time work.
Thanks, Lou, I understand that. It just, in terms of a process, it still, to me, it seems a huge amount to expend on part of a process. But
A process that you'd do every 9 years, though, to put it in perspective, right? So if you think about, like, if you're a contracting company that you're doing regular tenders, it's probably not such a big thing, but it's a bit like when we went to the bond market, you know, when you do a one-off thing to do so, it does actually cost money when you do that one-off.
thank you.
Couple from me, if you don't mind. The cruise berth.
Yes,
What is the estimated date of completion?
still expecting in time for the, our understanding is sorry, I'll start again. Same timing as expected, so it's 2021? You know, there's no change is what, from where we're expecting.
for that
So it's not next season, it's the
Yeah.
following season.
Good, cool.
Yeah.
Yanni?
I was just interested, the government keeps announcing all these handouts for electric vehicles, but I never see Red Bus or any of our council companies getting those grants. Are you aware of, I think originally we were told that that was part of the electric buses, Red Bus had applied for it. Are you aware of kind of what's happening in that space?
So yes, Red Bus have applied for them in the past and have missed out.
Right.
But there is still a new fund coming on board now, so we'll just keep monitoring that and actually apply.
Do we
Yeah.
need to raise that at a ministerial level or at a governance level? Like, it just seems odd that we don't get support.
CCHL have.
Right.
The trial that they're going to run with the 3 that they've purchased for this year will
Yeah,
put them
correct.
in better stead to
Yeah.
be successful in the next application.
Correct. So they are working through. So you'll know now, you'll have seen in the media, so they've got a trial bus at the moment, but that's not the one that has been purchased. So we've got 3 that has been purchased on order, and they will arrive in the next 2 months. Unfortunately, they were delayed because of the stink bug epidemic for shipping, but in the meantime we have got this trial that is running around all the routes a week on each of the routes for people to try the electric
All right,
bus.
have we had a memo about that, or, sorry, I'm not aware of it, but is there something?
Yeah, it started at the start of this week. So
Red Bus's Facebook page, actually.
yeah, it is. So it's not our bus. It's on trial for 2 months, but it's giving us the opportunity to actually look at the data and actually how they run.
Okay, and it's not the same bus as the 3 that we're getting? It's
No,
a different bus?
no,
Okay.
the new buses are not here yet.
And the new buses, is it still envisaged that that's just going to be the airport route?
Correct.
Right.
Yes,
Well, it's just
very-
like, it's interesting, as we've done the ferry road consultation, people have actually made comments, why can't we get electric buses going through all the way from the airport to Sumner? But, you know, I
They
appreciate
go
there'll be
through to
logistics around it.
Spraydon, I think, don't they, Barrington, the airport bus.
Okay, any other questions? Jimmy?
Yeah, it goes across.
I'm concerned that particularly your information regarding to the Littleton Port. You know, their profit dropped for the $2.4 million. And those the 2 key factors. Is a temporary or is a kind of ongoing? One is you mentioned the coastal container wallet, drop, particular for the schedule for the Auckland port. The other one is the union, negotiation. That's temporary. How to mitigate those one?
So the thing with the for the port is the ports of Auckland obviously have gone through this a very public automation process that they're working through, and what that did is it slowed everything down there. And of course, there is now that they're sorting through that, there is a backup of all containers, and they couldn't get them all on shipping, coastal shipping. So that's happened, a lot of that's been trucked, which means from a LPC point of view, that is actually a lost revenue, because of course it's just delayed, it's actually lost revenue because it's gone on the roads rather than coastal. So that's the director. And of course what also that does add to with LPC is when those ships are coming, there's a backup. So of course their staffing costs are more expensive because they've got to go, right, we've got 2 ships coming in over the weekend, so everybody, so it's it feeds on itself. So yes, in regards to they won't recover that, and the stuff that's lost revenue, but that is the nature of where we are at them with that. But they will recover. They are still going well in regards to their container numbers.
But how about union? Union one done already.
They're negotiating, talking. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you, Leah. I have a resolution to note the content of the report, which I am happy to move. Seconded Mike. Any debate? I'll put the motion. All in favour say aye. Aye. Against.